Boom. Welcome, guys.
Welcome.
Another episode of Cam and Tina.
We're not
Today,
supposed to say guys.
welcome.
Frank doesn't like it.
Frank doesn't like it. Welcome, all you humans, to another episode of Cam and Tina. We are going to be speaking with Alex Antolino. He's a creative director at Typeform. He is running Video Ask. He is an amazingly charismatic guy, and he gives a shit about the planet and about brands doing well and doing good.
Yeah, so he's going to tell us all about that. And he has a super sexy voice. So, all of you females that are going to be joining and enjoy this and like close your eyes and listen because his voice is so serenading. There we go.
So we're just connecting now. Thank you all for joining us. And
Bye.
this is going to be, I think, our last live until the new year.
Yeah,
So,
we did it. We made it through 2020.
Hey guys, what's up?
hey.
Hi.
Welcome.
What's up? How are you guys doing?
Very, very well. How about yourself?
I'm great. I'm great. Friday night here in Spain, so woohoo.
Woo! Yeah, and we have an exciting topic, and we can't wait to hear about you and your creative journey. I know you work with Typeform. Tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about what you do.
All right. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Alex Antolino. I'm a creative director. I spend most of my time thinking about brands and branding and how to evolve and create brands that mean shit. And yeah, so basically I've been working at Typeform for the last 5 years. And my journey, it's been all about changing like professions and things like that. So I studied filmmaking actually. I studied at the film school and I did like cinematography. So I was a DOP and I did a couple of commercials. And I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know if I like, directing other people's stuff. So I kind of like got into direction and I started making commercials, had my own studio. And I was directing my own commercials, but then I was doing the scripts of agencies and things like that. And there was a moment that I struggled a lot because I had to do like a script that I couldn't get behind. So it was like some kind of watches for women, but they were like doing it in a way that they would put women dancing and shit like that. And I was like, ugh. So I had to do it. But then after it, I was like, that's the last time I do this shit. So I decided to shut down my company, and super randomly, I ended up at Typeform, which is like a tech company based in Barcelona for online forms. And it's forms that look great and they are very human and create a beautiful experience. So I joined Typeform 5 years ago when they were 30 people. We're 300 now. And here we are. With Typeform launched a new product called Video Ask. And I decided to focus on Video Ask, which is like a very small startup of 10 people within Typeform. And I'm now running this brand. So that's my story in like
Whoa.
1 minute. Boom.
Thank you. I'm curious to know like about the Save the World component and how that falls into play.
First of all, I just wanted to say hi. I see Firma, that we are Firma here. They're the design agency. I see RL. Hello, everybody here. So I just want to mention Firma because they are the guys who created this initiative that I joined, and I'm like really proud that they're doing this. It's an initiative called Creatives for the Future, right? And it's basically gathering creatives all around the world to start working in towards creating more sustainable brands and helping brands create more sustainable companies, right? So I'm really excited that they're doing this, and it's something very new. You can check it out, Creatives for the Future. It's super exciting, and I could be more pumped to be part of this community. What they're trying to do is like bring good narratives into brands. So big agencies or agencies from like any kind, like you guys could be part of it. They're basically giving you tools and resources to actually help create good projects, right? When an agency is hired by a company, how can agencies help bring these good narratives into companies and together start putting, setting the direction for like a proper future, I would say.
I love that. And it seems like such like an overwhelming topic for many
It
people.
is.
Like, how can we do good? How can we make sure that what we're doing is good and not just like poor intentioned to get more attention. Because I see a lot of large brands, and you've seen some fails in the last year, in the last 2 years, where they did something that they were showing that they were doing good, but it backfired because their intention wasn't there. Their purpose wasn't to do good. It was to show that they were doing good. So it's a very selfish approach.
The greenwashing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that you mentioned that. And by the way, before we continue, I like to say to everyone watching here, if you have any question, this is a conversation, but it's not a conversation between 3 people. It's a conversation between the whole people who are here connected live right now. So if you have a comment, you want to say hi, by the way, you could actually start by saying where you're from and what's your name. So if you please want to drop right now in the comments, what's your name and where you're from? That's a good start for us to get to know each other, right?
I love that, Alex. Just immediately making that connection, building that community.
It's important.
Conversation.
Right. So I see already people who I know from my Instagram. Yeah. So I see like the art of telling the truth. Make sure you hire people who actually have backgrounds in sustainability and diversity, who can work and collaborate with your comms and team. And then I see Nick here from he's your community manager, and then I see RL. All right, so good. So let's keep it going. I really agree with what said. I think, first of all, you need to have the right people in the right place. Like, that's the first thing, right? But I think, as you said, it's true that like sustainability and these kind of things, it's overwhelming. And the reason because it's overwhelming is because we all want to go towards like a sustainable future, because otherwise we're out, like we're gone from this planet. But sometimes we don't know what to do, right? Like, I don't know, like I went vegetarian some months ago because it was I love meat, by the way. I love grilling meat. I love spending like 8 hours making my brisket and smoking my brisket, things like that. For some reason, I'm very American in that sense. But it's a commitment that I have to make, because otherwise, like, it's on these little details that we can do stuff to actually change things, right? And as you guys were saying here on the comments, getting the right people and put them on the right places, it's the first start to actually like start moving things. And it's overwhelming, and like any overwhelming thing, the way to tackle overwhelming things is to start little by little and start like one step after the other. So maybe today it's, just making sure you don't use more paper than the paper you need, if you need any. Then maybe it's like not using taxi to go to meetings within the city, and maybe ride the bike. These little things, we think they're insignificant, but they actually make a big difference. And by me saying I'm vegetarian and saying how much I love meat, but how I decided to not consume more meat because of the planet and things like that, it's a good start for at least people to start thinking, right?
I love that. Awareness, that's what you're trying to do.
Awareness is the first step, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I think you were mentioning this idea of like greenwashing, right? So some companies, saying that they're doing good things, but at the end of the day, you could question that, right? And I think, I always like to say that brands is not what you say. Your brand is not what you say, it's what you do. And this is like the first thing that everyone needs to know. It doesn't matter, and this applies to people too. Cam, you know from my content that I like to always say that brands are like people, and so this applies to people too. Like, it doesn't matter that I come here on a live and I say, yeah, I'm super raw, I'm super honest, but then like I go bitching about you guys like with someone else, like, oh, these guys, look at this background, it finishes at the edges of whatever, like this kind of thing. So it doesn't really, it's all about actions, right? So the first step is, to act, and then to talk, right? Greenwashing happens when you say and then you act, or you never act, right? And then you're like cleaning your image. You think you're cleaning your perception, but then we don't live in the fucking 90s anymore. People are going to see what you do on social media. People are going to judge you based on your actions, not on your words. So the first thing is to, it's fine. No, I was just repeating myself. So
I was just thinking, like, I think you touched on something and it kind of just like sunk in. If you want to do good, don't do it with the intention to market it. Just do it with the intention to actually do something good. So if you want to start an initiative, you don't need to tell everyone you're doing it online. Just start doing it in your company, do it as your brand, and show through action.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's actions what really matter. And then of course you can, the good thing about awareness is it actually can change other people, right? And one of the things that we were discussing on this group, Creative for the Future, on the first call, because actually last week was the first call, and I'm so excited. But one of the things that was discussed there is that, some companies do the greenwashing, and there's a whole spectrum on how you can actually relate to sustainability issues, right? There's people who are like super committed, and then like on a positive way, they kind of spread the message, right? That's the best, situation where like you're super committed, but at the same time you're positive. You're not like pointing at anyone, and you convince people by being positive and talking about the good things.
Beautiful.
And then there's like on this spectrum, there's people who don't give a shit on the other end. And then there's people who like, they talk, but they don't act, which is, in that spectrum. So I don't think there's like a black and white. I think there's like anything that is above not doing shit or not caring about it, it's bad, it's good, right? It's a good start. So in a way, sometimes greenwashing can even be positive because it could be a start. At least someone is talking about it.
Love that.
Right?
Yeah, so you're focusing on at least there's awareness, at least the conversation started, even if the action wasn't there. And that was going to be my question is what do you see as like the balance between action and actually getting the word out? Because if you just take action and you don't have that forethought for reach, then you might be just doing this in a small group, whereas you might have a larger influence abroad, and you could create that and expand that initiative. So even if you're only able to do this much, maybe the people you reach could do this much. So by not speaking about it, you might be hindering that initiative as well. So like where is that balance of, yes, take action, but don't fear talking about that action you're taking?
I think if you're taking, I think it's the order, honestly, like start by taking action and then talk about it. But if you start by talking about it and then at some point decide to take action, that's also okay. I mean, it's better than nothing, right? And in general, I feel like sustainability is something that like, it's like, it's not something that you can, put on your quarter goals for like next year, and like for quarter one we're going to do this and that. I was reading here on the comments that like it's not just like a campaign, right? Like you need to get people, like you need to embed diversity in your organization, you need to embed sustainability in your organization and start inside. So probably the best way is to start inside, because it's hard to try to convince someone of something you're not doing. So, and honestly, reducing the carbon footprint is that how you call it in English? Like the emissions that like from your company, that's already like a huge challenge, right? Because society, unfortunately, is not designed like this. So it's kind of like you need to go against the establishment, right? In a way, and so that is a whole like challenge on its own. But maybe you don't need to have things figured out to talk about those things. You can talk about the process, and with that process, you might inspire others.
Yeah,
by the way, sorry, I was gonna say, which by the way, this applies also to building a brand, which is something that Kev and I have been discussing recently. It's not only about the insights, it's actually much more powerful, the story of the process, because it has downs and ups and downs and struggles. So sorry,
it's like this perfectionist that we see in ourselves in our work, but it's also in these processes too, where it's like we can only show them once we've done it to 100%. Once we're like the most sustainable company, then we can talk about it, and then we can start sharing it. When sharing your journey can be like help remove that overwhelming feeling, like, oh, they're trying, and these are the pitfalls they're having trying to be more sustainable.
It makes you more approachable as a brand as well. When you're showing, here's our process, here's where we screwed up. It's like, oh, I feel safe. I can have a conversation with this person because they're real. They're not just a robot out there on the internet talking at me. They actually really give a shit. There was somebody that said that companies should really worry about the products that they're putting out and not so much about the initiatives. Like sometimes they lose focus on what they're doing and focus too much on the initiatives. Do you think that's a problem?
I mean, I don't know if that's a problem. I think when you create your product, like you should be like what I think, and it also this applies to how I behave personally. But for me, like all these things are long term, right? Like we cannot change the world tomorrow and move on. Like this is like sustainability. The word itself, it's like changing for sustain sustained way, right? So I think you need to start changing for those things internally, and then try to make a commitment that you can scale. So for example, I could have gone vegan, but I know for sure if I go vegan, I'm gonna break it like after 1 or 2 months. So I know I can commit at least to be vegetarian and eat fish for now. I prefer to commit to this long term than to commit to vegan like all in and try to convince the world and then bail like after 3 months.
Do small things. Like we always talk about the 1% improvement that you can do today. It's like
exactly
small little adjustments. Do your work, build your product, build your service. But what can you do? What's that one little thing? Maybe you have a compost that you put beside the trash can.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, Tina, that's exactly it. And like I'm seeing that there's more like build up on this comment of like adding sustainability from the product chain, and that's exactly what we're talking about. Like it's not like you need to like, it's not like how funny it was like when people used to think about design as something you put at the end. It's like, oh, we make this great product, whatever, and then at the end it's like, oh, can you just design a nice package and move on? And we're all now like, yeah, this is like, no, like it's like you need to add design from the very beginning. Sustainability is the same. You need to think in a sustainable way from the supply chain, like it's been said here on the comments, like from day one, like, and you need to create in a way that is sustainable. But what does it mean, right? And it's hard to figure out those things on your own, especially because as I said, the world is not designed for this. So you need to survive. Your business needs to move on and keep making money. So it's not easy. So our recommendation and what's working for me, and that's the reason why I joined Creatives for the Future, is because like if you join a community, it's much easier, like someone that is leading the way, that like it can help you, provide resources that you can follow. You have other people that will hold you accountable, things like that. So my recommendation, if you're trying to make your business a little bit more sustainable, is that maybe you join a community, maybe you join Creatives for the Future or any other community. There's other initiatives in London, there's other things like that that can help you at least get started. And then it's a process. It's not like a switch. It's not like turning on the lights. It's a process. But anything is better than nothing.
Oh, I love your heart. You have such a big heart.
Thank you.
I think like even you say like join a community. If you want to start this locally and you don't see a community, just find another business, a few other businesses, a few other brands that are around you, and start talking to them. Because like you said, like you don't need to face this alone. There's people that have been thinking about this and done this in the past. You're not reinventing anything. You can reach out for support and help in these areas. People are always looking for the magic pill and the way to do it quickly. It's like whenever someone looks for like health tips, it's like, what's the magic tip to make me healthy? It's like, have you been drinking water? Do you get good sleep? No? Maybe focus on
I've been drinking vodka. Okay.
Yeah. Like
right,
focus on the simple things before you go and do something like absolutely
everyone
insane.
Just wants to be the best. There's a reason why we do that. Like we hurt ourselves because we see people at this pinnacle and we're like, oh, we need to get there. We need to do all these other things. But you don't realize that people started at the bottom and they slowly work their way up. And having that mentality is so important, because if you skip those steps, it won't work. Future.
Exactly. And I think the good thing about sustainability is like, who doesn't want sustainability, right? Like you can say that climate change doesn't exist, whatever, for like marketing purposes, but like we all see what's going on. We all see that like summers are getting warmer, like it's just like, it's not fucking 2000s, like, so the good thing about sustainability is that it's contagious, right? But it takes a lot, because it's like, it's going against the establishment. And this takes courage, takes commitment, and it's not easy, right? It's not easy. It's like if you're living, have you seen that movie? Was it Up? That movie that
Yeah, yeah.
at the end of the movie, no, was it? Yeah, maybe the one with the, I don't know. There was a movie that at the end, maybe if you guys watch it, anyone in the audience can point that out for me. I'm not going to look like a fool, but like, there's this movie that at the end, everyone start eating and there's like, everyone gets fat. I don't know, maybe it was like the guy, like the little robot. Anyone, a Pixar movie, right? So at the end, everyone is fat and like they're on like in these cards, you know, like it's a wall of fat people.
Wally, for sure.
Wally, right? Wally. So imagine living there and trying to get skinny. You know, it's like, how do you do it when your world is not designed for that?
Oh, I love
It's
that.
hard. So the easiest way is actually to like connect with someone. Accountability is the best thing for that. And just like, it doesn't need to be local. Like you can, you know, have like a group on, you know, like, come on, like if people are doing DM groups to pump their post on Instagram, are you telling me that you cannot join a fucking group on Instagram that helps you move in that direction?
Well, it's so easy, and guess how easy it is. There's already people in this conversation that would be good to reach out to, like the Art of Telling the Truth,
100%.
like, Matt Arima. Like, it's so easy to find your people. You just start speaking about that topic, and people flock to you, and you're like, oh, I get it. These are the people that I could collaborate with to find better ways to do something. And they might have ideas that they've already tested and tried that you would have taken the next 5 years to try to develop.
And so 100%, and actually here on the comments, I'm reading a lot, the art of telling the truth. So if you follow her, I actually been in chat with, like, she's amazing. She's a great person. And like, we've met for like many months, and she knows like a lot of it. That's her thing. So if you're interested, just DM her. She's a beautiful person and she'll be able to, she loves talking about this. Like I'm talking about you, right? So maybe you get some DMs from this conversation. But I think that's good, but because we need passionate people that they take us in the right direction, and you are one of them. So if you want to follow her, I mean, she's my little, like, I don't know in English, but like Pepito Grillo, you know, like it's like she's like, oh, Antolino, that's not sustainable, you know, whatever. It's like, okay, whatever. My mom just joined, by the way. Hey, mom.
Hi, Mom.
Right. Okay.
I love this. I feel like the passion has been so exciting, and like I feel like ready to like go crush some stuff and be more sustainable. I almost want to like leave it on this. Maybe we can just answer like one more question from the audience.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if there's anything you guys want to ask, but please, maybe Mom, you have something to ask. You should be proud of your son, by the way. He's
Mom is like missing me because I'm on the Canary Islands.
This is her way of seeing you.
Yeah. So you guys, if you have any questions, just drop it here in the comments. We'll pick it up. But on the meantime, like, I want to mention something. So one of the things that it was discussed there, it's like one of the things to start is like, first you need to fix your own business, and then you can, you know, start convincing others. And one way of convincing is just telling your own story, right? You don't need to figure anything out. You just like start doing your own process, and with that process you tell that story, and this happens outside. And one of the things that I learned from Creative from the Future is that, Creatives for the Future, which you can find on Instagram. You can, after this call, you go, so Creatives for the Future. You follow them. They're designers. They're like a branding agency, my favorite one. And they have like, they're great. Like the feed is it's eye candy. So it's like, it's not hard to follow. Because also one of the things that was said there was that first you need to start, and then the zero waste was the first topic that they're going to tackle. And even just before that, some people are in the sustainability race, they're going to be like farther on the journey, and some other people are going to be behind. So for example, start with zero waste. Like, do you need paper? Do you need all these kind of things? And then what kind of products do you consume? I mean, when you get in the rabbit hole, like, it gets pretty deep. So again, start with something and move on from there. And like, just what we're doing here, just like spreading the word, bringing up these conversations. And kind of like one of the things that is important for me, and that's what I try to do also with my own personal brand, is like rebrand sustainability. right? Because like when you say sustainability, like everyone thinks green and like cute things and shit like that. And fuck it, like sustainability is it's hard, it's dangerous. Like if we don't like it's so I'm trying. That's one of the things I'm trying to do when I talk about sustainability. Is like I go like fucking like I go hard because like it is hard, like we don't need to be like, oh yeah, I'm vegetarian. No, fuck it, like you can swear, you can. Am I swearing too much, by the way? Sorry.
No,
It's like
that's
I
perfect.
just
Like, that's how
forgot
you
that
get
this
people's
was like
attention, right?
right,
Like to
okay.
get people's attention, you have to go outside the norms. That's why people like Gary Vee, because they think that they have to be in this box of like professionalism. That's why people like Mo Isma, because when you step out of that box and you be you and you swear and you bring this like edgier side to maybe something that's been super fluffy and hippie, all of a sudden Alex is coming out and being like, fuck this, we need to fucking save the planet. Then people pay attention.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think that's basically what it is, and I think I don't have anything else to add to this point. So I'm gonna shut up.
Is there anything coming out of 2020 that are like other positive trends that you see brands maybe picking up on, or things that
Yes.
might be just under the threshold that people need to be aware of?
Ugh. I'm burning inside now because like I literally spent like 2 hours yesterday on a Zoom call that was supposed to be. Oh, hold on a second, because this is worth mentioning. Look at the thread here in the comments. It's going crazy about my mom. It's like oh, Antolino is swearing, or Mama te va a regañar and shit like that. This is hilarious. Guys, thank you for interacting. Sometimes it's just like us talking and people just watching and then switch on and off, and I think it's great that you guys are participating in this.
We love you.
We love you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so so trends for 2020. I'm not fucking Gary Vee is gonna be, oh yeah, go on TikTok or like go on Twitch, but like there's definitely something that we spent like 2 hours talking about yesterday. And yeah, I want to mention that. So I don't know what's gonna happen next year or the other one, right? Luckily enough, because otherwise it would be fucking boring. But the thing here is that I'm starting to develop, like I'm developing, I'm kind of like inside of me, I'm trying to develop what brands will look like in like 5 years from now, right? And I have the feeling that we're moving in towards what, let's say brand 2.0, right? What brands are going to be in the future. And with more social channels popping up, with TikTok, all these kind of things, the more, and then video is like taking off finally. Like Instagram was about photography, now it's video everywhere. TikTok is all video, Twitch is all video. Oh, maybe there's a trend here, right? So it's not like I'm trying to promote video ask, but like in a way, this is one. But I'm doing it, so sign up now for free. No, but in a way, this is one of the reasons why what I was excited about video ask when they asked me to run the brand, because like I see a trend of video, and the trend of video only, it's like the surface, because there's something behind that trend. And in my opinion, what's behind that trend is people, right? Video is not it. Video is just a way for people to connect when they're apart. And I do think that this raise on video, especially pushed by COVID and things like that. Hey favorites, what's up?
Hey, Fabrice.
Really good designer. Check him out. Really good UI designer. Really good human too. So this trend of like video, to me, only highlights the fact that we're moving towards brands run by people, right? That's what I like to think when I say brand 2.0. For me, up until now, brand's been about storytelling, about content. You see WeTransfer, you see MailTeam, we present all these kind of things. And I was looking at MailTeam. By the way, I love MailTeam. They're doing great. But I have a feeling, maybe because I'm biased on Video Ask, but I have a feeling that at some point, who talks is going to be more important than what they are saying. And some brands are realizing about this already, and we start seeing more brands bringing people, bringing faces, right? So, Diana from Diana Gets Social told me on a podcast, she's like, oh, she's been called the beat girl, right? So this might happen like accidentally now, In their case, I know because I talked with her, it's very like it's a strategy, right?
Yeah.
So that people can connect with the brand at a more personal level. But I think this is the trend that is gonna like, if there's any trend or whatever, I don't like talking about trends, but if there's a direction where brands are going, I think it's about people. I think it's like brands are just a way for people to connect, and big companies are gonna try to find ways for customers to see a face when they talk about that brand. And I'm not talking face like celebrities, Beyonce, Colin Kaepernick. No, I'm talking about normal people like you and I,
Yeah.
right?
I agree with you.
So that's
basically just
where
bringing
I
the
see
people to
brands
the
going.
forefront. So like bringing
100%.
their customers or the people to the forefront.
Exactly. And I think that's what the future, if there's a brand from the future, is the future. They nailed this, and they were able to get a bunch of people and put them in the center of their brand. And it's hilarious that it's a design brand. It would have been really easy for them to make it very designy and stuff, but the future brand is actually very neutral, and what matters is Chris Do, Matthew, Ben Burns, and all of them, right? And so that's a brand 2.0 in my opinion. It's like you
I
connect with the
absolutely love
future.
that.
When you say future, you're thinking Chris Do, Matthew, that's a brand 2.0. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do also with video ads. Like get some people and put them in the front, and people will connect with that.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think this is going to be an amazing year coming up. I think you're right that the connection is what's going to push us through. We all got separated by what was going on in the world, and that's going to be the reason for people to bring back together, and the reason to push people to the forefront and have people driving the brands instead of brands driving the people.
Yeah, and I love the comments. It's like, oh, so yes, restaurant business went hard in in hiring celebrity chefs, took the spotlight. I don't follow the restaurant I love. I follow the owner slash chef. Favorite says faces are new logos, which I totally agree. There's a whole discussion for personal brands. Does a personal brand need a logo? I don't think so in general. I think brands will creating the feeling of transparency through video, maybe more spokesperson, Steve Jobs energy. So I do think there's gonna be a new position in a short future. I'm already thinking about this, but video ads is very small now. But if I was running Typeform right now, I would definitely hire someone to do that. Well, actually, they're doing it because Paul Campillo, the head of brand, is actually taking that role, but he's the head of brand. But I think at some point there's gonna be like even like a job position that it's gonna be like the brand representative.
It's called the visionary.
The visionary, but that's not a job. Like that's more like someone who has that role, like Steve Jobs, right? But like I think there's gonna be like a position, someone like they're gonna hire someone to be the spokesperson of the brand. And I'm not talking about brand, ¿cómo se llama esto? Brand ambassadors, right? Like it's not like, oh, there's this influencer, we're gonna give them some money and they're gonna post of our lipstick on their feed, right? Like I'm not talking about brand ambassador. I'm talking about someone within the company that's their job is just to be the face of that brand. And it could be the social media manager, it could be the chief content, whatever, like the person running the fucking content, or it could be the CEO, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
Like for Steve Jobs, he was the CEO. Yeah, I feel like I could be talking about this. I get very passionate about these things. So
I love your energy on it. That's so
oh my
amazing.
God. But there's one thing, like, because I always people talk about like Apple and shit like that, right? And when I think about Apple, I think about like a very refined, sophisticated brand that it's even like a skeptic sometimes, right? Like it's like, oh, it's so fucking dry, like, you watch it's porn, like you watch the keynote and I watched the last keynote where they presented the HomePods, and I was like, this is fucking porn. Like as a filmmaker, I was like, oh, I didn't know how to feel, right? But no wonder why they have the customer support that they have. Yeah. Because if they didn't like that, you feel like they're really there to help you. Like I don't like anytime I had issues with like something like any Apple product, I really felt that these people cared about me.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And that's like they need this, because otherwise the brand would be like so fucking dry that people would even like not necessarily feel comfortable with it, right?
Well, it's because they're robots. Based what Apple is, they're creating robots. You need that human side, or else it's like Terminator. Everyone thinks that there's Skynet coming for them. So you need that human side to take that emotion and put that into people, right?
Yeah, and you know what?
Exactly.
One thing I feel like we're gonna talk to you forever because we love hearing your voice. It's so interesting, but I want to be mindful of time, and I love the
Yeah.
energy and the topic. And I think we should leave it here. And if anybody wants to reach out, please do. You can see the handle at the top, and maybe Nick, if you wouldn't mind putting everybody's handle who's here in the comments, and just reach out, then we can continue the conversation.
Let us know if you want to hear this again, because there is so much to unpack
Honestly,
here.
yeah.
And we want to talk about this topic because it's near and dear to all of our hearts. So reach out to us at Hiilite, reach out to Tina, reach out to Alex, myself, and let us know if this is a topic that really matters to you, because we're all in this together. Like Alex said at the start, this is a conversation, sounds like between three, but it's between all of us.
Mm-hmm. And I love seeing how engaged people are here, like on the comments, because this only highlights that there's excitement about the topic, and this is the most important thing. Like, it's the fire. Like, we just need to, like, let it spread in a way. So I'm super up for part 2. I see already people suggesting part 2, so let's do it. Like, as a New Year's resolution, part 2 in January. If you want to do it, you have my commitment. And before we wrap up, there's just one more thing that I want to finish with. For me, it's very important. So we started with, and also it's a good wrapper because it started with like what we said at the beginning, like how can brands save the world, right? I think we live I said this many times, but if you haven't heard this, we live now in in capitalism, right? And things are moved by money, right? So of course there's politicians who are gonna do their stuff and like bring awareness to topics, and whoever who is in charge might try to move things in one direction or another.
Yeah,
the truth is that even you can go to like a protest, and yes, those protests change things, like we've seen on Black Matter movement and things like that, Black Lives Matter movement and things like that. However, there's even something more powerful, which is where you spend your money. Mm-hmm. And I don't think this gets talked enough. In a capitalism system, things are run by businesses, and businesses need money to survive. So if you cut the money they're getting, in some time, they're gonna disappear. So you have more power than you think in your pockets when you buy stuff. So the most important thing you can do is like just start to be aware where you're putting your money, right? Because every time you buy something, you're making a choice and you're making a statement. And that's why I think brands can and have the potential to maybe even be the only ones that can save the world, because the world is today run by money. So if brands at least put good narratives in society, that's already a huge achievement, because the world is being moved by that money, and we've seen it many times, and I think we're going to see it more and more. Now it's an option for some brands, but in 10 years from now, it's going to be a must.
I think that's so powerful. Basically, the power is in your hands as the individual, and ours as businesses. We love you guys. Thank you so much for Alex for joining us. We will do a part 2 in 2021. And hope you guys all have a great Christmas, a great start to your new year, and we'll be back soon.
Thank you for supporting us.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye. Thank you, guys. See you around.
Love you guys.